Welcome to part two of the Belsheber Rusape interview. So, last time, we just kind of talked about his beginnings, but now it is time to get to the various projects that he has worked on. So, simply, of all of the roles and all of the projects that you've done, and this is always a fun one, but which ones that you consider that you hold near and dear to your heart, any roles, characters, just gush about it. If you want to also just praise the people that you've um that you work alongside with, your favorite VAs and all that good jazz, just favorite anything in general. The floor is all yours, my
Hmm.
buddy.
All right then. Well, for starters, I love pretty much every one of the characters that I get to play as. Even the even the very problematic characters like Manifester from Broken Beat or Ending from My Hero Academia. But if I were to pick favorites, the ones that I feel like I relate to the most are definitely Kakeru Sengoku from Horimiya and Freckle from Lackadaisy, because with Freckle, he reminded me so much of how I used to be when I was 18. And it was just like, oh my God, this poor baby, like, get some confidence, boy. Like, love yourself, love thyself. You'll be surprised what a lot of self-love will do for you. And with Kakeru Sengoku, the way that Caitlin Glass always described Sengoku, because she read the manga before she was working on the show. So it was like I was getting some insight from someone who understood the source material proper. So it was like I freaking loved him. Like as like we were building up to each of his major episode moments, because his strength doesn't come from being the most physically strong person, because he's not, and he's really lanky and self-conscious about that, which is why he wears baggy clothing all the time. But rather it's because he's a leader and he takes charge when most people don't want to. And even though it scares him at times and he doesn't like being angry, it's something that he takes on wholeheartedly. Like he's scared, but he still goes on anyway. Like that's very inspirational. And it just really reminds me that strength with men, especially, doesn't have to come from being a strong person. It means having a strong will and like a strong sense of character.
Hmm. Yeah, I totally agree. So, speaking of that, do you have like a list of, VO peeps and, VAs, not just VO, just, voice actors. You can also shout out like writers, artists, people who work in the industry, people who are in your personal life that you love to give shout outs to. Just, you know what? Just go right ahead.
All right,
Favorite
then.
people.
Well, oh my God. Well, that's a dangerous question because I have a lot of names that I was thinking of plugging
Just
here.
yeah. So it's like it's hard to just name like you name this one person and then it's like, oh my gosh, I left out this one person, this other person, and it's like I'm
Yes,
so bad.
exactly. That's why I was very apprehensive about this question. Oh man, but let's say my Cuban sister Yenny Yan. That's one. That's one for sure. She always got my back, and I always got hers. Then there's Lucia Lopez Villa, one of the smartest people I know in this world, and oh my god, she is so sweet. Like she deserves the world. And then there's Patrick Mealy, Jazzy Oliver, Jacob Wilson. Oh my god, my friend Shakira Dunn. I love them so much. Like she has been killing it so hard in this industry lately, and I just hope that she continues like making her dreams come true. Like I love Shakira so much. Oh my god, there's a whole list of people that I need to name. Well, oh my god. Well, okay. In the anime world, I do have to like give a major shout out to, my cast members from Horimiya, like especially Marissa Duran, Celeste Perez, and Jalissa Delgado, who play Hori, Sakura, and Remy, respectively, because we all became BFFs after working on that show. Like, oh my God, we clicked so well after that show. It was like, like we do like talk a lot occasionally. It's just like, oh my god, we're always cheering each other on. We're just like always talking with each other. It's like I'm always trying to find a way to like slide in the DM just to be like, oh my god, friend, how you doing? Oh, it's just like we were all really green around the time Hoodie Mia came out, so it was like we instantly clicked with each other. And like, and look at them killing it now. Like, oh my god, each of them has been a lead. Each of them has been the lead of a show before, and it's nuts. Like, they really kill it.
Yeah.
Well, that's just actors, like exclusively voice actors. But if we were shouting out voice actors who happen to be directors, Caitlin Glass, Colleen Clickenbeard, Sean Gann, Emily Fajardo. Actually, hang on. Let me look through my end. Okay, Tony Oliver. Tony Oliver, who works at Bang Zoom. I got to finally work with him on Lord El Malloy the Second's case file Railgun Zeppelin Grace Note special. He is a very thorough director. Like, he's such a sweetheart. And like, man, all the people out there who like were pioneers in the industry, like they're actually really sweet people. Like, oh yeah, speaking of veterans, Lanny Manella, who is so sweet and so freaking cool. I want to grow up to be just like her someday. Like, she is so freaking boss.
Yeah, those are just some really great names in general. And some of them I've also had on my podcast. As
Ooh.
for Jazzy Oliver, okay, so I do have something that I do want to bring them on because, specifically because, well, I wanted to speak to them about, you know, a specific subject matter, but, it's nothing
Mm.
like anything sensitive, but it's more like, because I know there's a lot of actors who do work like in the LGBT community, so I just specifically wanted to bring them
Okay.
on, for a special episode like that. So,
Mhm.
yeah, or just something similar to that. Um, Jazzy, if you listen to this, you rock. I love all of you. You're just amazing. Um, thanks for stopping by my podcast and just rambling with me all this time. That's pretty much what these end up being. It's like, okay, maybe I'll just, 30, 60 minutes. No, it goes on for 2 hours because we have so much to
Oh
talk
my
about.
god.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh man, but
Especially with Lucia, like you mentioned her, like we just passionately went on like a tangent about like Korra and just started gushing
oh,
about
I feel
Avatar for
you
a
on
while.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like, God, if I were to talk about storytelling, I'd be here for like another hour. But
Facts.
yeah,
Oh my
I
god.
guess speaking of media, though, this kind of is a perfect segue to my next question. What's your favorite? Just anything like related to media, shows, books, games, just anything. Like, and if
Well,
you also want to say like how these really meant to you, how they touched your, you hold a soft spot for them, and they kind of made you grow into a better person and as an actor, what are they? What are
mm,
these um, things that we should check out and that, and it touches and it just really spoke to you personally that you would highly recommend
mm,
from your
damn.
childhood and even up to this very day?
Okay then. Well, oh my god, I have a huge list of stuff that I've grown up with, and now I love growing up with TV shows and especially with anime because like all of those have followed me my entire life, and like because like I grew up back in the day when Full Metal Alchemist, Cowboy Bebop, Trigun, and all that stuff was just like
Yo,
airing on
so
Toonami.
like
So
we're talking about the gateway shows, the big
yes,
ones.
like
Yeah.
those were the huge ones. And of course, I grew up with the big three. So yeah, there's that. Although to be fair, I never really got that into Bleach around the first time. Like the first episode was really cool, but for some reason I never really caught up with it. That it sucks. Like I really wish I did though, because Bleach is really cool. But oh yeah, Pokemon. Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh!
I mean, you
Were
gotta
my
mention
jam.
those.
Like,
Yeah.
oh my god, I grew up with the 4 Kid stuff, which by the way, ignoring the censorship that happened back in the day, Real talk, the talent behind those English dubs was amazing. Like,
They
um,
slap.
right, like, and oh my god, can we talk about the fact that the people who produce the music for the Four Kids dubs, they deserve way more credit and they should be still
For
working to
real?
this day. Like, I am so upset if none of these people are still making music to this day. I am borderline triggered. But oh man, that's just TV. I look back at a few things and I'm just like, wow, we grew up in a good time when it came to TV. Now, do you remember Kids WB?
Oh my god, like Animaniacs, Batman, and those shows, like, I
Teenage
know it,
Mutant
it
Ninja
aired like
Turtles
Pokemon
and
and Yu-Gi-Oh!
everything. It
Yeah.
was like that was when all the shows were airing, like Jackie Chan Adventure, Static Shock, all that
I
stuff. It
think
was
the Powerpuff Girls even aired on Kiss WB at one point. Yeah.
oh, you know, I wouldn't look past that. Okay, that would make sense. But
Yeah, yeah.
I look back and I'm like, wow, we really lost this for the CW.
I mean, the CW had some okay stuff, but still,
Uh,
it's not, you can't compare it to like Kiss WB or even Fox Kids. Like, come
oh,
on.
bruh,
Yeah.
bruh. A few good shows doesn't negate the ass
Digimon?
blast.
Yeah.
Like the ass blast that is the CW, because a lot of their stuff is just edgy cringe. Oh, I cannot with the CW. And the fact that, man, the drama with the Flash really solidified for me. Like, oh my god, this is
I
why.
remember, okay, I know it's been shared on YouTube, but now Piccolo's a Saiyan just like Raditz.
Whoa, I remember that.
Yeah.
Oh my
So
god.
remember, kids, Piccolo, he is a Super Saiyan just like Goku and just like Raditz.
Oh my
Oh.
god.
Okay, I know that it's a meme at this point, but like, yeah, I totally want Sonic to just tell us that Piccolo is like, he's a Saiyan, not a Namekian, and I'm like, bruh.
Ugh.
But
Oh yeah, that
anyways,
was
that's
also the
just,
version of Dragon Ball Z Kai that had a blue Mr. Popo.
oh, if we're gonna go there, oh boy.
Oh
I
my
think I'll probably talk
god.
to somebody if we talk about the localization issues and stuff like that, but yeah, oh boy, don't even
It's
get
like,
me started.
okay,
Yeah.
okay. At this point, I get it. I get Mr. Popo, like he's based on the Indian Jin, but why does his face look like that though? Oh my
I
god.
mean, no wonder that like the abridged series actually poked fun of it.
It's like, oh, can we talk about that now?
Like, it's like, how can we actually address this without, being really insensitive? That's kind of like, okay, if there's one piece of media that actually does inspire me, it's Team 4 Star, Little Karibo, those guys,
Oh
they're just
yeah, bridge
amazing.
content is so good. Like all
Yeah.
throughout high school, that was the
A lot of my
shit.
friends are in a bridge series. I was in an abridged series.
I
Everybody
feel
was
you.
in an abridged series at some point
Yeah,
or
we've
another.
all done the bridging before. It was like when it was like very mainstream and popular,
Yeah,
but I
and
mean it's
not
died
like,
down slowly.
yeah, because
But
like, certain reasons, because like ownerships and copyright and whatnot, which yeah,
yeah.
that's a different can of worms altogether. So
Mhm.
let's see. Demo
But
reels. Yeah, we're finally gonna get to that. What got you into demo reels?
okay, well, this one is weird because well, I tried producing my own demo reel, failed multiple times, but
I mean, we all gotta fail at least some point, like countless times before we actually get that one success.
yeah, when it came to a demo reel, I just settled for the fact that I'd rather someone who professionally does this for a living does this for me. And as time went on, my interest for writing started peaking. So I decided to start writing for demo reels, mainly for some friends. And then it started evolving into a business where I tried producing full demo reels, which, well, based on how poorly I was, like, based on how much I was charging at the time, that got me into a lot of shit. So I just kind of like settled for just the writing part. Now, I will say for a fact, I take major pride in knowing that one of my best friends, whom I mixed his entire demo reel for, his current demo reel, because I've mixed each of his demo reels over the course of the years. But this most recent one, this got him represented by Atlas Talent. Like, I take pride in knowing that I was able to do that. But well, honestly, he was extremely talented on his own. It's just that knowing that he was given a demo that highlights the fact that he's really talented, because he like improvised the entirety of that on his own. I just added the background effects and like everything else.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's but yeah, like overall, when it came to the writing portion, I just found myself more intrigued when it came to the writing side of things. And as the years went on, like when I don't know what year it was, but the first time I heard that Kira Buckland was directing for voice demos, that's when I knew everything was kind of like sailing upward, because that's how I knew for a fact that this is a lucrative market and that it is basically a chance where we can all connect with one another to like market each other. And that's why that's why in my current demo scripting commission document, you can see that I have a long list of recommendations for other people in their services. Because even if you don't want my style of writing, there is going to be at least one or two people, or even three or four or five, who have like a totally different style that actually vibes with you better. Now, when it comes to the work process, though, I'm a firm believer that if you can't read it in a way, if you can't read it properly where it sounds like you'd say it in real life, you probably shouldn't write it in that way. Which is why back in the day, because when I was much younger, I was always listening to demo reels. One of my hobbies in school was listening to demo reels of like really huge voice actors. And it was like, you know, a lot of these are really good, but then there are some of those that just sound very template-esque, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? Like where it's like it sounds like it was written to fill in the specific voice in mind, but it doesn't feel
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah,
it's its
yeah.
own identity. So that's where I came in and I was like, okay, I want to give the feel of what's going on in the template, but I also want to write it in a way where if you do get hired for a cartoon or a video game or anything like that, it needs to sound like something official, like something that sounds so cool. It could be its own official property. Like, I don't want my demos to sound like anyone could have written them. And that's where I do draw a line when it comes to demo reel scripting. Like, you can have the templates all you want, but like if everyone is writing in a way that sounds like you could just like sell a template to everyone else, it was it really money well spent? It's just about putting your own love into the script. Like I see a lot of writers nowadays who just like have a very vivid flourish when it comes to, dialogue. And I'm glad that we're in an industry now where you can have multiple options and everyone else can just like recommend that person.
Right, right, right. Yeah. Um, but congrats to your friend for scoring for, you know, I mean, he's with Atlas now, so hey, that just shows that people really flock to you for demo writing. I mean, come on, seriously. If you're not considering about working with Bell, I'd say that you're kind of missing out. Just saying.
Aw, I appreciate it. And to clarify, I only work on scripts, but I will give you
Mhm.
personal recommendations for people who work on the mixing department and the directing department, depending on how you want to work on the demo. And bear in mind, and this is something everyone else has pretty much said, so I'm just kind of copying and pasting here. If your recording setup isn't up to snuff and it doesn't sound clean, it's gonna reflect horribly on your demo reel. Like it you need to have a good setup in order to record for a good demo. And while you're at it, it would help you more if you continue to like educating yourself, like, taking classes and trying to get, as much experience as possible. Like, you don't have to book the one big gig in order to have a demo reel. It's just a matter of like knowing the basics and like finding your own foundation and understanding your range by the time you want a demo reel.
Right, yeah. That's a pretty good mindset to have. Yeah, the template is there, so, if you want recommendations, this guy, like I said, he's got the goods. He's got all the hookups. Kind of like our unofficial VO agent at this point,
I
essentially.
that's
Yeah.
You're not the first one who said that, where some friends of mine
Don't
have
worry,
told
don't
me,
worry. I'm pretty
but
sure it's like kind of like an inside,
it's an
quote where it's
inside
like,
joke in
yes,
this
yes, at this
community. Like
point.
everyone tells me, like
Yep.
I should, like you should be an agent, like, and I'm like,
I mean, you retweet casting calls and you refer actors a lot. I mean, it's like we got to come on. We got you scratch. What is it? I scratch your back, you scratch mine, or whatever. Like you got the hookups. Like we're here
I'm
to
like the
support each other. We
multi-arm
want
back
each other to win.
scratcher.
Yeah, he's the ultimate back. Yeah.
The like I have multiple arms and I'm scratching so many backs. It's really fun.
Yes. But
But
anyways, what were you saying?
after a while, it's I just do that because something I've learned over time is that not like everyone's schedule is very busy. Like if you've had a busy
Yeah.
schedule and like you try to connect
It
with
also
friends,
depends. Yeah, scheduling. Oof.
yeah, like
Time
everyone has a
zones. Oh
different
my.
schedule. It's like the
That's not
benefit
even
of
getting to the different time zones because, like I said,
right.
it's
That is
global. People
hell to
work all over the
the
world, and it's like,
world.
yikes. Even trying to schedule people for a podcast such as this is like, ooh, live
Like,
directing. Oh,
oh
time
man.
zones. That's the one.
That's
The
the
one flaw that not too many people talk about, but it should be addressed here. Different time zones. It's gonna be torture. If you're trying
oh,
to schedule an actor from like Australia, then another one from like, I don't know, Canada, it's just,
schedule
oh
is
God.
hard and like not everyone really takes that into consideration. But
Yeah,
yeah,
probably should be
something
talked about more.
yeah, it should be talked about more. And the thing is, the reason why I loved, tweeting so much about like recommending other actors is because everyone's schedule is so different. So the one thing we all have in common is that no matter what time in the day or where we are in the world, everyone that everyone that got tweeted at, they're gonna know that there's this opportunity over there. And if they're too busy at work or at school and they don't have the time to, scope for stuff on Twitter, which I don't blame you for if you're in that situation, then yeah, like you at least know that your name is pinged on here so that you have it waitlisted in, at the time when you want to record it. Because I made time for scouring for voiceover work on top of doing schoolwork, but I don't recommend that for everyone else because it drains the hell out of you. Like I feel safe to say that I'm in a place where I just the fatigue is low key catching up to me, and I'm just I'm okay with saying that because that was my battle and I chose it. And thankfully, there have been other people, good friends of mine, by the way, who've been actually, messaging me about casting calls. So goodwill, goodwill, good favor. Like everyone can what goes around comes around in this industry. So if you do good things will most likely come to you.
Oh yeah. And luckily there's other people like just follow VA Casting Retweet, there's the PGM,
Mm-hmm.
the VOC Takeover. So there's a lot of incredible resources like the
Yes.
VAC Discord server, voice acting club, and just a lot where you could just if there's a casting call that you want to find that you want to audition for, definitely hit them up and yeah. Um keep on grinding, I guess. Yee. But
Yeah,
it's
it's
really good.
mostly just the
Yeah.
voiceover industry is really just mostly a grind session. Like
Yeah.
you have to continuously work for it. Like it sucks at times, but go at your own pace. You don't have to work yourself to the bone. So it's just some extra advice. Like don't be a workaholic if it's not good for you.
Yeah. Um, I know it's much easier said than done though, and it's like,
Yeah, but it's
maybe I
like
want to take a break, maybe want to play a video game, but it's like, no, dude, that audition, you want to be one of the first ones they want to listen to, right?
I
Hmm.
mean, to be fair though, with most people, the funniest thing is a lot of people actually do their auditions on the final days, so it's kind
And
of
they
funny
still
when
get that's what happens to me. Story of my life,
it's
bro.
hilarious when that happens because it's true. Like you don't have to rush
But
yourself.
then it's like,
Like
and
you
even if your audition is not really necessarily, even if you feel that it's not necessarily the best, somehow they're like, "Congrats, you're this role now," and I'm like, "What?"
it's like, I'm sorry,
Okay,
what?
okay,
Like, you know
I
what the funniest
won.
thing is? The
Uh,
funniest thing is I recently watched an interview that was done with Michael Sinter Nicholas, who was the voice of, 2003 Michael, sorry, 2003 Leonardo from
Leo,
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle. And he was like a huge name back in the 4K era, and he's the founder of NYAV Post. So
yeah.
he is a prolific name, and he's in Venture Bros. So
Oh
with
yeah,
Mike,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, so with Michael Sinter Nicholas, like oh my god, his interview was hilarious, but damn, like he went through all the stuff we just talked about, where it's like, he was, because Leonardo was actually one of, if not his first actual gigs. So, so it's
I
like,
actually did not know that. Wow.
me neither. So it's like, when you go in blindly and you're not sure about your future, you never know until you actually put your name out there. But yo,
Yeah,
look
pretty
where he is
much.
now. Look at where he is now.
I know for real, right?
Oh my
Yeah,
god.
Stephanie Shea is another one. We got,
Right.
yeah,
But like,
yeah. I love him.
one thing that they and their generation and every generation following after them, what all of them have in common, what we all have in common really, is that we love our craft. Like, we really grew up understanding what this industry was all about and how we would essentially incorporate it proper.
Oh yeah, totally. So yeah, it's just really, really interesting with how much that everything's changing and is evolving, which now it's time to talk about, the union, SAG, and I mean, I would talk more about like, diversity and representation, but I do have some other guests that are going to be like, I mean, I do have some guests planned coming up, which we're going to go into like more in depth, death, in
And
depth
yeah,
conversations. I can't talk today. I don't know. Wow. I don't know why just
I
cannot. But
feel you on
anyways,
this one.
yeah.
I'm just a
Yeah,
little out of it
exactly.
today,
So,
but
anyways, um, yeah. So I know it's something that is still like it's developing, so I'm not sure how much time we're gonna actually spend on this topic in particular, but yeah, like when it comes to like the union, and also like how we've been getting a push for more diversity and just everything that's been happening since, well, um the atrocity that was 2020, and that all that stuff. So how much would you say that the industry has been like, evolving or changing since, like, well, at least since you can also because I know you've been watching anime and like you've been watching shows for a very long time, but how do you think that it has changed, like specifically from when you first started or even before that? Like, how do you think it has changed for like the last 10, 20, even longer than that?
right. Okay, so how
Ever
the industry has
long it's been?
essentially changed,
Yes.
since I first
Especially since
joined,
2020. Yeah.
right, and like how it's changed as of recently when the 20,
2020s, God, the raging 20s, as I like to
right, the
call it.
roaring, raging. I like that better. The raging 20s.
Yes.
Oh Lord, we're getting so old.
I mean,
But
I would say people say roaring 20s. I say the
roaring 20s
raging.
was like back in the 1920s. Like
Yeah,
raging 20 is more
but
like
it
it.
really does seem like history is repeating itself. I mean, the Great Depression, pandemic,
Yeah.
everything. Need I go on?
Oh my
Need
God,
I
history does
go
repeat
on?
itself. Humanity is a failure. But anyway, as far as how the
Anyways,
industry has
yes, yes,
changed,
yes, yes.
I have noted this before on Twitter, but to really paraphrase it, the industry has changed drastically in the positive way because there has been a huge change in diversity because everyone is more conscious about it. Everyone's actually taken the effort of hiring more people instead of just like opting for the cheap way out of just hiring the same 10 people for everything, yada yada yada. The same argument we always keep talking about over and over again whenever we the industry fails in diversity. At least nowadays I can say for a fact that whenever we see black characters, it's guaranteed they're going to be played by black actors, and oftentimes most likely different black actors each time. Like, it's not going to be the same one actor playing every single black character, but if they happen to get a rap sheet, then so be it. That it is what it is. Now, what I did mention a while ago is how I'm grateful that we've seen such a huge uprise when it comes to dark skinned actors getting the chance to shine in anime. What really sours it is the realization that so many of these actors could have been way further in their careers if they were light skinned, like if they were white, so to speak. Like, have you ever noticed that where this really talented black actor, like, they have so much range and so much potential in this industry, and it's like they don't get cast often. Like, they should, but they don't really often. And it's just like when you look back, it's like, oh man, I'm realizing a lot of black actors, especially, could have gotten way further in this industry if we weren't black.
I mean, you're
It's the
talking to the both of us. You're just
yeah.
describing the both of us in a nutshell.
Like, at least they, unless they want a diverse casting situation, like in general, they wouldn't care. Like, they would hire me based on my merits and like not like single me out based on my skin or the fact that my name is obviously ethnic.
Oh yeah, yeah. I totally feel ya. Um,
Yeah, because damn, like I'm looking at
cause it's
I'm
like,
so grateful.
okay, yeah,
I'm so grateful we're better off where we are now than it was like back in the day. But Jesus Christ, like
yeah. It's like not to be that person, but it's like it just really grinds my gears whenever people are like, but racism doesn't exist in this industry. No, you just haven't been looking hard enough. I'm
right.
sorry,
It's like
man.
you're not the one who experiences any of it. So why are you trying
Exactly.
to speak on our behalf?
Dude, okay. I mean, I don't talk about my personal life very often, but it's like, oh god. I mean, when people like I've had literally had people like I've had this in school where it's like discrimination, it is very much it's real. And I know it's certainly gotten a lot worse since, those days, but it's like it's always been there. It's always there. And it's like um no, I kid you not. This is something that actually somebody oh my god. It still just angers me just thinking about it, but it's like well, I mean, of course it does. I mean, like, obviously they, and it's talking about the skin color that somebody said. It's like, well, yeah, because like, I guess black people just have it rougher than others, and it's like if they were more white, then maybe it wouldn't be so bad. And it's like, okay, first off,
Oh, what?
it's not, yeah, this is like an actual comment that I got at school where it's like, okay, maybe if your skin was like less, like, not so dark, then maybe it wouldn't be an issue. And it's like, okay, first off, we didn't shoot, like,
You don't
when we
choose
were
the color of
born,
your skin?
when we were born, we don't get to choose the color of the skin. And it's like,
It's like, are you hearing yourself right now? Oh
yeah, it's
my god.
like, okay, so like what? Since I was a baby, I get to just magically choose what I wanted? I mean, like, the human brain doesn't really, isn't even functional yet. I don't get to choose. Like, bro. I mean, thank God, though, the student got expelled for, like, that behavior, which that's a good thing. That's probably
Oh
the
well, that's
one
good at least.
good lot. which is like, oh my god. But yeah, this legit happened in school. So it's like for people saying that like, oh, it doesn't really exist. No, 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 no.
It
I mean,
is.
like, you may have gotten lucky, like, and by the way, I'm not just to anybody out there who has not experienced stuff like this, you're lucky because I'm not because like seriously, this is kind of like a warning that like no matter where you go, it's gonna happen to you like at least once or like you can't just go through life without experiencing this nonsense. I mean, it's impossible, dude, at this point. So
Right.
yeah, I just gotta get that out there because like whew, yeah, it just really frustrates me that like, people just really undervalue like how I mean with Black History Month and like, with the Black Lives Matter BLM, I hate that it had to come to like this, what happened 2 years ago. I just hate it had to take that for people to just finally wake up. Seriously. Like, at least we're finally getting some change, but there's still a lot of work that needs to be done, man. There's still so much that needs to be done. Just too much, man. Okay, so, um, yeah, and as far as the union stuff goes, I know there's stuff that's going on with the union that is being developed at the moment, so I can't really speak too much on it. Um, yeah, I just know that with anime dubs being unionized and whatnot, like I'm just glad that we're just people are knocking on the doors to companies and remember, come on, it's just a meeting. It's just only a meeting.
Mm.
Yeah, I mean, after all, it's just a game theory, but most of all, it's just a meeting. Sorry, I had to do that, but yeah. Yeah, there's more that we could just talk about, like what's been happening, but like I said, on a different podcast, not here, because like it's still ongoing, so we don't know. We'll just have to
Only
wait and see
time will
what happens
tell.
in the future. Yeah. Yeah, pretty much. We'll just have to wait and see what happens.
Mm.
Um, I think that's pretty much all I've got to say about, the big juicy topics. Okay, let me see. How much time do we have left? Yeah, so you could just quickly talk about like, your writing process, if you may, as a writer, fellow
Hmm.
writer, from writer to writer. What is your progress when it comes or process when it comes to writing stories and scripts and all that mumbo jumbo that you'll be doing? Yeah.
Well, my biggest experience mainly comes from demo reels, but overall, oh wait, hang on. Robert, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, just wanted to make sure. Okay. So, when it comes to writing for me, it's a matter of laying out the foundation, having all the key notes, and just making sure that when I'm writing the dialogue, just make sure that it sounds like something you can say in real life and it doesn't sound stupid. Because imagine you write something and then it's like you just immediately cringe afterwards because it was written so.
Pretty much our first stories, whenever you write something for the first time, it's always gonna end up this way. No, you
Mm-hmm.
cannot. The masterpiece, you can't expect to just knock out a masterpiece like right away on your first try. Nobody does.
Right.
No one
And
does.
and recently I actually took an NYAV Post writing class with Stephanie Shea, and she
Oh, I
taught me a.
wish I could take those. Yeah,
Oh
maybe
yeah,
see at
like
this point.
it's super good, but oh man, $500 though. Like,
Oh
yeah.
yeah,
But it taught me a lot. Like it really taught me like it's okay to have like writing warm-ups so that you can just write certain things in like new different ways to like exercise your own creative process. So with just like voice acting and like any other sport, writing has warm-ups too. Like it has exercises, it has disciplines, like it has a lot to it that especially in the world of ADR writing, with ADR writing, it is very difficult. Like it is not easy at all.
yeah. And we'll discuss more about this in the last part. And stay tuned for the final part because this has been a lot of fun. So until then, stay tuned, folks.